Hi guys, welcome to COSC100 tutorial 10 exercise number 4, and today in this exercise we're going to be looking at the guessing game example that we looked at from lecture 19. So recall we looked at a program that allows the user to guess a random number that's produced by the computer. So if we remember, we've got a copy of that program here, and essentially we give the user 3 tries to guess a random number that the computer has produced that lies between numbers 1 and 10. So essentially the program consists of a while loop, and while the number of tries is less than 3, the program goes through and allows the user to enter in guesses. So it prompts the user to try to guess the number, and then the user goes in, enters in their number, and if the guess that they make equals the magic number, the program breaks out of the while loop and executes the first statement after the while loop. Otherwise, it'll inform the user that their guess was either too high or too low. So it'll check if the guess is higher than the magic number and display a message that says that the number was too high, or it checks if the guess was lower than the magic number and indicates to the user that that was lower. So if we grab this code here, we can quickly go through, and I'll just drop that back into my Python window over here quickly, and we can go and execute that code, and we'll see when we execute that, it asks me to input my number, so I input 7. It says it's too low, so I'm going to input 8, and it says it's too low, so again I'll go through and I'll guess 9 in that case, and I was correct on my final try in this example. So the first question here, the first part of this exercise, asks you to modify the program so that the user is given 6 guesses instead of 3. So this is a really simple one to get started with, and in order to increase the number of guesses, we need to look at the head condition in the while loop. So it's this while loop that iterates for each guess that the user makes. We can see here that we've limited it so it's less than 3. So recall that our number of tries starts 0, so it'll count 0, 1, and 2. When it reaches 3, the loop won't meet the condition in the head of the loop, and the program will jump to the next instruction past the loop. So if we modify this number here and we change this to a 6, so if we go over to our code window here, we can change this into a 6. Oops, yep, we'll see that we'll get a few more guesses. So if we go and run a program again, and see that I managed to guess the right number on the first try there. We'll try that one again. So you can see that that I'm going to get more than 3 guesses if I enter in the same number over and over again here. So you can see that I've been given multiple guesses. So we've modified the stopping condition, the termination condition of our loop to implement that one. The second question asks us to modify the program so that the random number ranges from 1 to 30 instead of 1 to 10. So if we look at our program, we can see that the random number is generated in the 3rd line of our program. And it's done, we do that using the randint function, which is part of the random module. Now, this function takes two parameters. The first one is the lower bound of the random integer, and the second one is the upper bound of the random integer. So in our initial program we wanted a random number between 1 and 10. So in our new version we want one between 1 and 30. So all we need to do is go and change this second argument over to be between to 30, so that the random number generated is between 1 and 30, and I'm going to update the user prompt as well, so it's more informative, so it informs the user of the range that they're guessing. So now we're guessing a number between 1 and 30, and we've got a few more guesses to do so. So you can see that we go through and effectively gives us a little bit of a method, gives us 30 options from 1 to 30 instead of 1 to 10. So we've got more numbers, a larger range of numbers that we'll be guessing from. So if we go through here, we'll see that was too high, so let's go for 40. It's too high, we'll go for 39, 37. Oh, we still didn't get it, so it was 24 in that situation. So that's covered off on the first 2 points. The second part of this exercise, so step number 3, asks us to modify the program so it has an additional set of user prompts. So if the number guessed by the user, the guess, is more than 10 above or 10 below the magic number, the program displays the message, sorry, the number was way too high. We've given you a skeleton of code here to play with. So we'll go and grab our skeleton of code and drop that into PyCharm quickly. Drop that one in. We can see in this skeleton of code that we have some more branches. In fact, we've actually embedded, we've nested a couple of if-else conditional statements in here. So you can see that we only need to update the 2 conditions here and down here. So we need to just do a test to see if the number is 10 above or 10 below. So if we look in the first case here, we can see, we know that anything, if in order for this instruction, these instructions in here to be executed, we know that the guess has to be greater than magic number. So if we subtract the magic number from the guess and test that that's less than that, then that's greater than 10, then we'll immediately have the condition that we need for here. So if we jump over to our code here, we can remove this commented out section. So if we have we know that our guess is greater than our magic number, so we have the guess, and we subtract our magic number, that will give us the difference between the two, and we want to check if that's greater than 10. Likewise, below, we also need to remember to put the colon in as well, so that our program will have the correct syntax in the conditional expression. In the second branch down here, we know that the guess has to be less than the magic number in order for these statements, for these 2 statements to be this if statement to be executed. So in this situation, we'll have the magic number. We'll subtract our guess, and if this is greater than 10, so we know that our guess is lower than our magic number, we can see that we only want to execute our code if that condition occurs. So we've dropped our code in here, and now we can go and run our program. So if you see, if we select 1, so it was too low, if we set 30, you can see it was way too high, so it successfully displayed that message and so forth. So essentially putting those extra branches in there with our little condition here has allowed us to put an additional set of messages there that indicate if the user is way high or way low. So you can see this is a good example of using mathematical expressions as part of our conditional statement. So we've subtracted our magic number from our guess to get the difference, and vice versa in the second branch to get the difference for our values here, and as a result we've been able to use that to test this condition and execute our branches. So that's all that's required for exercise number 4, guys. Thanks for listening.